Hey everyone, tonight I want to talk about a game you might not have heard of, almost certainly haven't heard of. It's called Washed Up. It came onto Steam relatively recently. It's a Tetris-like game. It's got classic mode, time attack, and free play mode. Honestly, gonna play on the hardest difficulty here with the classic mode, and just talk a bit about discoverability and Steam and the Epic Games Store and such. This is a perfect example of a game that is really fun. It's not going to blow anyone away. It's not like revolutionary. It's made by an indie couple. It's the first game from their small studio, and it doesn't have a big marketing budget or anything. And to be honest, it flew totally under the radar, despite originally being prototyped at the Global Game Jam, getting a bit of exposure there, and then them deciding to go on make a full game from it. It's really polished, it's really fun. I sunk so many hours into it. I really enjoyed it. I think, yes, I've got every single achievement the game has to offer, and the only reason I discovered it was Steam micro trailers. Like, literally, I was just going through this Twitter account that posts 6-second trailers of everything released on Steam, and I saw the trailer and I was like, you know what, that looks like kind of fun. I kind of want a little bite-sized game I can get my teeth into occasionally, like while I'm watching Netflix or doing other stuff. And I really fell hard for the game. I really enjoy the game, and the game's struggling to get like the minimum amount of reviews it needs to be recognized as like a proper game by Steam and start unlocking features and stuff. And it deserves it, right? It really does deserve it. It's a reasonable price. I can't remember the price off the top of my head right now, but it's a very reasonable price. I think a lot of people would have a lot of fun with it. It's well made. It's like really well made. Like, it's not, as I say, going to blow anyone's socks off, but like the app behaves well. The sound design's nice. The music's nice. I might have the levels a bit off at the moment, but that's because I haven't been playing with music lately, because I've been watching stuff while playing it. The difficulty curves, go across the board. There's definitely a lot to master. It's got the scoreboards. It's got like everything you expect of the game. And the thing I really appreciate, it doesn't have any unnecessary frills to it. They haven't layered in extra shit to make the game seem like it's more than it is. And I really appreciate that. There's no artificial level or grinding or progression to just sort of keep you hooked in or anything like that. It's pure game. It's a really, really pure fun game. And honestly, if you like this sort of game, and you can judge by just looking at it, if this is the kind of game you might play, I highly encourage you to pick it up. And it highlights a problem that we have now with Steam. Like, you have to advertise, you have to have mechanisms to get out there, because discoverability algorithms just aren't going to do it for you anymore. It's sad. It's really sad. But it's the situation we're in. I've been thinking about this a lot because, I've been reading a lot of research papers and doing a lot of work, frankly, in the area of sort of discoverability and curation systems at the moment. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and with the timely release of the Epic Games Store, and now the 90%, 90-10% of the Discord store as well. They just announced that today. Game developers are getting more choice on where to release. Hopefully we see more store competition, and through that more store innovation. But I think ultimately what it does mean is we are just going to see more competition for attention. And like, when you release a video game, you're not competing against other video games. You're competing against every Netflix show. You're competing against every YouTube channel. You're competing against Reddit. You're competing against Twitter, Facebook, like all of these things. And you know, that's tough, but I also see it like as really optimistic. The fact that we have the tools out there to practically make things like this, that, you know, a husband-wife studio can make a quality title like this that I've got tons of enjoyment out of. Because they turned the game around in a year, you know, I'm sure they aren't doing great at the moment with how little the games got exposed, but I'm also sure they're not like horribly on a limb. You know, since discovering the game, the main programmer of the game and me have chatted a bunch on Mastodon and on Twitter, and he seems like a really great chap, and you know, I really hope they do another game. I hope they have enough runway and they do another game, and I hope this game finds its audience, because it deserves it. You know, I'm not saying it deserves 10 out of 10s or anything crazy like that. It's a very good little puzzle game that I have got a lot of enjoyment out of. And, you know, other than the designer of this game, I think I'm pretty much top of the leaderboards in every category at the moment. So it'd also be nice just to get some people to, you know, challenge scores with. But, yeah, no, it's just a really solid game, and I wish it got more attention. And there are so many devs out there doing good work that fly under the radar for a variety of reasons. Because, hey, you know, making a game is a skill set. Marketing and distributing a game is a whole nother skill set. And just because you're good at one doesn't mean you're good at the other. There's definitely games that are less deserving of attention, that have spent, you know, very little on marketing but have done it really well. You know, that maybe got more attention. Or maybe you're just in the right moment, you know. But I don't think we can rely, on curators to find good content by themselves anymore, because there's just so much content. Like, it used to be back in the day that every game released on Steam would get reviewed by a handful of sites, guaranteed, just because there wasn't that much stuff released on Steam. And I don't think this means that more games fail now. I think it's just the point of failure moved. You know, back in the day, you used to fail in the funding stage, or you used to fail in the getting access to dev kit phase. You know, fail during production. Now you tend to fail after release. You know, you don't tend to fail till the game's out with the public, which is honestly really nice, but it also means that more people are failing at the most expensive point to fail. You know that old moniker, fail fast? Well, a lot of people aren't failing fast because of how the market's now positioned, because there is so much freedom and there is so much exposure to different stuff. Oh my god, I'm not going to get the boat at this rate. Oh no, I think I got the boat. Yeah, there we go. So critical to getting those high scores is getting the boats come in. Really, really critical to getting those high scores. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if you want to see how this plays out, books, you know, as I've said plenty of times before, my wife writes books. We're still working on how best to promote those books. We do physical events, we do Twitter and social media stuff, we do some, you know, purchased marketing spend, but books are probably the most mature entertainment medium that independent creators are involved in, and I think they show where we'll naturally end up with games. You know, I think it's just a matter of time till games are like books, in that, you know, writing the book is a small part of the work. relative to the commercial success of the book. A lot of it comes down to the promotion, a lot of it comes down to, you know, getting people interested in your book, getting fans, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think this is a bad thing, but it does mean that a lot of good books go unread and a lot of good games go unplayed. But, you know, in the past, a lot of good games just didn't get made, right? So the failure point was somewhere else. The difference is those people who couldn't get their game made would then go work at a studio or work in a team, or, you know, it would force more cooperation and collaboration. But I think we're kind of sort of past the point of maximum indie split, and, you know, now we're seeing a lot of small indie collabs and get-togethers, and I think we're going to see that more. And yeah, see how the landscape evolves. But yeah, promotion of material, it's definitely something that is valuable and worthwhile. And I mean, honestly, if they just get one more sale through this video, I'd be happy. You know, if just one more person discovers this game and goes, you know what, that's a fun game, I'd be really, really happy with that. Because, you know, it's like if you find a really fun restaurant or you find a really fun book and you go to someone and you go like, hey, you totally have to read this, it's really cool, or you totally have to try this restaurant out, or whatever. You know, it's really fun to bring people in and go, hey, I found this thing. And I think, you know, as humans, we like to do that. And so that's one of sort of the natural places where social media is at its best, and like these social tools, you know, really shine, is that ability for us to sort of show other people, hey, really into this and really into that. And, you know, unfortunately, being a bit cynical, that has become harder now because of brand deals and how sponsorship work and how influencers work and all that stuff. Like, the bulk, you know, of media like that you see out there at the moment is actually just advertising in a different package. That's not to say it all is. There's a lot of genuine stuff out there. And even the people who are doing the ad deals occasionally use their platform to be that champion of the new. You know, the old Ratatouille, the Ratatouille monologue that I'm sure everyone's kind of heard and seen, and it's tried and tried to, you know, bring it out again into the discussion. But, you know, the job of the critic is to be the champion of the new, and I think that's important, you know. But I also think that, like, you don't have to get 10 out of 10s, and you don't have to rock the world necessarily. You just have to make something that connects with a handful of people, and hopefully they find other people that it connects with, right? Because like attracts like, and, you know, hopefully you find your tribe, you know. I think that's just one of those things. Hopefully you find the group of people who are really into the thing you make, because they're out there, right? But getting that laser focus down onto that group becomes really tricky and can be really overwhelming. But you know, you've got to believe they're out there. And this is the thing, is if you've made a thing that you own and you have the right to promote and stuff, hey, maybe you don't get loads of sales this year, but if you get those sales, oof, oh god, I'm in a tough spot. I think I might. Yeah, I'm in a real tough spot. I might be near the end. But yeah, if you don't get those sales this year, maybe you get the sales, you know, 10 years from now. Look at something like Monkey Island. Not Monkey Island. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Psychonauts. Psychonauts was not profitable when it first came out, and then when Tim Schafer acquired the license to Psychonauts years later, and off the back of the fame he had since acquired, a new promotion and selling it for, you know, what it was and stuff, Brutal Legend and Psychonauts did really well, sort of after the fact. You know, that mystical long tail we talk about does exist, but yeah, it didn't happen out of nowhere. You know, he had to put in the work, and he had to find people who would help him make the long tail happen. And I think that's an important part of it, you know. I think I'm about done. I don't see... No, I think that's me. Yeah, I think that's me done. I think I am wrecked. Yeah, I think I'm wrecked. But yeah, Mazza created a game there, and there's my score. See, nowhere near my best score. But yeah, time trials there, classic modes there. I highly recommend you check it out and play it. It's called Washed Up. And yeah, I just hope you enjoy this, and I hope this video finds this game at least one more fan. And if you are working on something creative, please take into account the promotion side of it, and don't get too disheartened, because even if, you know, you only reach a few people, you've reached those few people. So yay. Ciao ciao.